How y'all doing today? How y'all doing today? Welcome back to the Counting All Joy podcast with your boy Will. And it feels like I haven't been on here in a minute. I didn't get an episode out last week. Had a lot going on. Wasn't feeling 100%. Was under the weather. A lot of other different circumstances and factors. So I didn't get one out last week, but I was like, I gotta get one this week. Can't go 2 weeks in a row. But yeah, y'all. I got a haircut, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling refreshed, feeling exuberant, new. Uh, nah, I'm feeling good, kinda. Actually, I just lied because the Falcons it's Sunday right now. The Falcons just lost. Shador finally got in. Shador time. He didn't play as well. He got thrown into the fire, but I'm happy though. His stats didn't look as great if you just looked at the stats, but the game, a couple of receivers dropped passes. He threw a pick that was on him. Uh, Another pass that he threw, a couple other passes he overthrew, or maybe it was a miscommunication, but a couple of the other ones they dropped. It was just different circumstances. It was tough, but I'm still proud of him. I'm ready for Shador time. So I know this is not a sports podcast, but I'm ready. All right. Uh, anyway, I'm not gonna talk about the Falcons though because they're a monstrosity. Anyway, let me get to the whole point today. I want to be talking about living in this generation. That in by itself, it entails a lot. But I'm gonna try to go into specific subtopics regarding this. And something I'm pretty passionate about is something that I talk about with my friends and I discuss with my family members and my close ones, my close people, and my close circle. And something again that I think is very important. And hopefully you guys can learn something from this. To begin, I think this like, share, subscribe, follow, all of that. Anyway, I think to begin this generation, it's so and you could say this about every generation, but I think it's more so now because of the environment we're in. But this generation is so impressionable. And with that, this world, and specifically this generation, but this world we're in, i- it's full of followers. People who just see what other people are doing and they're like, oh, let me do that. I think this world lacks true leaders. And what is a true leader? I think somebody who can obviously lead other people, who can uh, take other people under their wing, who can influence others, who can uh, persuade others in a way, not and persuade and coerce and things like that can be have negative connotations, but as a leader, sometimes, a lot of times, you are persuading people intentionally and unintentionally. So I think, and being a good example as well is a part of being a leader. Somebody who's not just saying things, but also backing it up and applying it and not being a hypocrite. So it's a lot of things of being a leader. But I think this world lacks true leadership. And the people who are looked at as leaders, I don't think they're pushing. Now there are some people because obviously there are people in this world who I can look at and be like, okay, they're doing the right thing, and I can learn things from them. But there are other people who are they're so influential in this world, and they're not pushing the right things per se, depending on your morals and your values and how you live your life. But I see way more quote unquote influencers. That's what they call them now, influencers, who yeah, they're influencing, but I wouldn't say it's a positive thing necessarily. And and yeah, that's something that this world is full of. People who receive uh I the leadership title or they receive role model status, which is just crazy because they have 2 million followers on Instagram or they have 50,000 followers on trips on Twitch, like different stuff like that, or they have 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. That in itself makes you an influencer in today's world. It makes you a quote unquote leader, which is crazy to me because it's way more to that than just a number or how many people like your post or how many people comment on your videos and so forth and so on. So I think that's the world we live in, and something that is crazy to me because there are so many people, especially in today's world, who they'll look because we have so much access to everything, but we'll look at someone who's just on the internet and someone who has a certain status and they're portrayed a certain way in the public eye, and they look at them like the whole world, like everything is whatever they do, like they can do no wrong in their eyes. Like LeBron James, I love LeBron James. I'm a fan of LeBron James. I'm a fanatic in a sense when it comes to basketball. But I don't know that man. I don't know what he does behind closed doors. I only know what he shows, right? I can only speak on what I do know, and that's his game, how he plays basketball. That's what I can speak on. I love his game. I love the way how complete of a player he is. I love how he's an all around player. I love his pause, but I love his build. He's 6'9", 265, and can play 1 through 5. He can do everything with a basketball. So that's why I'm infatuated with LeBron James' game. But as a person, I only know what he shows. I don't know him as a person. I can't call him a role model for me. I don't know that guy. So I think uh people see people like that and they look up to them. And some for some people that might be good, for some people that might help them get to where they need to get. But I think we need to be able to separate, especially when we're talking about athletes, or it could be anybody, it could be an athlete, a politician, a governor, it could be a entrepreneur, whatever, whoever you're quote unquote looking up to. It has its pros and cons, but I think in today's world, we look at, I'm gonna say LeBron James because that's everyone knows who LeBron is. But we look at LeBron and we're like, oh, LeBron does this, I need to do this, blah blah blah, blah. And that's just how this world is. People are followers. They look at what other people are doing and they look at where the crowd is going. They're like, oh, well, this must be the right thing. And a lot of times, if everyone's doing it, it's probably not the right thing to do. And when you're trying to live for God, especially in this world, the way it's going. Uh, which I kind so what I'm about to say, which I kind of already said with what I was speaking on, but the internet is a huge part of the way people are. How everyone's not everyone, but a lot of people, majority of people are followers and they're not leaders. The internet is a huge part of that. It's not an excuse, but it's inevitable. People are going to see things on the internet. People are going to be on social media and see what other people are doing and want to be like that, want be envious of that, or want to yearn for whatever they see on the internet, or see someone else have, see what they obtain or how they live their life or what they flex. People see that and they're like, oh, I need that, or they think they need that. They're like, oh, I want that. I desire that. There's people do that, and I think that's the internet is a huge part of that because there's so much access to other people that there wasn't before, literally 50 years ago. So, uh, but yeah, I think we have to choose to be followers. And I think I was talking to my mom about this, or maybe I was talking to my mom about this, but I think I was talking about this on a podcast a couple weeks ago. But we have to choose to be followers of God and also be leaders of men. So it's fine to be followers if we're following the right people, if we're following God, right? If we're following, really, we need to be following God. I don't feel like now there's some people who, yeah, okay, maybe this was a few weeks, I don't remember, but I was talking about leadership. But um, we have to be followers of God, obviously, and when we follow God, then we can lead other people, and leaders of men. Again, I'm not gonna get into the whole thing about who can be leaders because everyone can be a leader, but everybody doesn't have all the qualities. Everyone can be a leader, but there's some people who you have to work a little bit harder than others. But I think the most important part is being a follower of God, not being a follower of man. I think a lot of us unintentionally and sometimes intentionally uh, follow other people, follow men, follow people who aren't living their lives uh, with God in the center of it. I think that we look at what we see on social media, we look at what we see again on the internet, and we think, okay, this is what I need to do. Oh, this person doing like this, so this is what I need to do. Everybody has their own walk. Everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own path in life. Your path isn't the same path someone else has. It might look similar, but I promise you it's not. Everybody has other factors. Everybody deals with things at home. People deal with other things. Everybody has to go through their own trials and tribulations. Everybody has to go through their own ups and downs. So if we're looking at them as a barometer of how to live our lives, I think that's where it's misconstrued. So again, I think most importantly, we need to follow God and not follow others. And the generation we live in, it's hard not to do that because we see so much and we're able to view and feel like we have an inside scoop to everyone's lives, which in a sense we do, but not to the extent you think. You don't see them behind closed doors. You don't see the stuff they're going through. You only see what they portray. You only see what is getting pushed out. There's so many different aspects of people's lives that we don't see from a day to day, the most important parts of their lives that you don't even know about. You just see them when they're putting on the facade, when they're putting on the face. And some people are genuine and you can see how they are, but you still only see a fraction if you don't truly know those people and you don't know what they're doing behind closed doors. So I think that's the downfall of looking at these celebrities, looking at these famous people, looking at these people that we see on the internet and trying to see what they do on the internet, like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Or okay, they're doing this, so maybe this will work out for me. It might. Like if we're looking at somebody for workout videos, that's totally different, but I'm talking about life where there are people trying to, you're just looking at what they do and they show you on the internet and they're trying to make it seem like it's all peaches and cream and you're only seeing the highlights and you think that's how life goes. It doesn't go like that. And everybody, something might work for somebody else and something might not work for somebody else. So you have to figure out what works for you. And the only way you figure it out is with talking with God and building that relationship with Him. Something that my mom has always told me, and it's funny as you get older, uh, like the verses that my mom and my grandfather always told me over all these years. They've always just stuck in my head and they always just randomly pop back up in my head, especially when I'm reading myself. I'll see the verse and it's just like, man, like this verse was literally drowned in my head from birth. And I'm just talking about it's several verses, plethora of verses like that. But the specific term I'm about to tell you, or phrase or whatever, be in this world but not of this world. My mom has told me that so many times. She still tells me that to this day. Like, God wants you to be in this world but not of this world. Like, we're gonna have to live in this world because God, like, that's what we're here. We were born into this world, but that doesn't mean we need to live. This world is full of sin. This world is full of pain and hurt uh, and fear. But if we're living for this world, we're going to be sadly mistaken. We're going to be sadly let down. And it's inevitable. The world is going to let us down. The world is not this. Yes, it's God's creation, but this is not the ultimate prize. There's more for us. So we're not living like this is uh our ultimate goal, our ultimate gift. Like there's more for us. So God doesn't want us to live our life like the world, how worldly people think, how people who aren't living his life, not living his life, but living their life for him, how they operate. We can't live like that because then we're being of this world. We need to be in it, but not of it. We're going to be in it because we live here. We're born into this world. But we need to operate in a different way. We can't operate like everyone else. We can't operate from a place of fear. We have to operate from a place of love, which I've talked about before. The verse that this stems from is John 17:14-16, where it says, I have given them your word, and the world has hated them. For they are not of the world any more than I am of the world. My prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. They are not of the world, even as I am not of it. So basically, I just said, Jesus is just saying that we don't need to be of this world. We can't live our lives like everyone else. We can't live our lives like people who they're just going And I believe on taking it day by day, but they're just going day by day. They're not thinking of, oh, how do these actions, how's what I'm doing, how does that impact my relationship with God? When people are just doing things just to do them and they're not thinking of the consequences that come in that can be good or bad. But when they're not thinking of their relationship with God with their actions, then they're just being of the world. We're all in this world, but we can't be of it. And when we're living like we're just of this world, and this is like the ultimate goal, and this is just what we're living for, that's when it starts going downhill. And you have to be honest with yourself. If you're in this world and of this world, we need to be in it, but not of it. I think another thing too, we have to have our own mind. Kind of what I was saying earlier. A lot of us are followers. A lot of people in this world are followers, but we have to have our own mind. Uh, Again, I do not like TikTok. I had to get in the mic on that one. I do not like TikTok. All right. I had to delete it myself. I only download the app to post uh little clips on there. I deleted it again. All right. I'm gonna figure out a way to just download to my computer and post them from there because I don't want it on my phone. But just because we see it on TikTok, just because we see it on Instagram, that does not mean it's the right thing to do. That does not mean it's the way for you. I'm it's really crazy because I can really go down a whole rabbit hole about how many people who are close to me, people I know, people I'm cool with, acquaintances, like people really go, like they'll have a question and they'll go on TikTok and look it up. Like that's the generation, that's the world we live in right now. You have a question, we don't want to go on Google anymore. We go on TikTok and look it up. Like that is scary. That's scary, dog. We go on TikTok. We don't even go on Google anymore. You can't. I'd rather go on Bing than TikTok. If y'all don't know about Bing, y'all just too young. But go on TikTok and look stuff up. So when you think about it like that, it's just kind of crazy to me. But we need to have our own mind. It's fine to be able to want to seek knowledge and seek uh there's a lot of people who are scholars. There are people who have lived a lot of life more than us, lived a longer life than us, and they have more knowledge and wisdom and understanding in life than certain people do. And that makes more sense. You're seeking godly and wise counsel. But when we're just going on the internet and we're asking peers, sometimes peers might know more than you, but we just see it on the internet. We just see somebody else doing it. And we're like, oh, okay, well, I'll just do that. They say it's working for them. Well, they say they smoke and it helps them concentrate, so I might as well do it. You don't do any research on it. You don't think of the consequences. You don't want to know how it affects your body, how it affects your mind, anything like that. You just, well, they're doing it. Okay, well, they drink all the time. I'll tap in. Like, I know it's so many people in this world who don't have their own mind. They just operate on, well, if they're doing it, I'll do it. And if something bad happens after it, I'll just deal with it. Or maybe they don't even think about that. A lot of people don't even think about the consequences. And if you tell them, they're like, bro, you're just tripping. You're being, you wildin', bro. You thinking of the negative. Like, it's crazy though. And that's just the world we live in. And it's sad when you think about it, but it's always been people like that. But it's more, it's such a proliferation of people today in this generation because there's so much access to everything. You have an inside scoop to everyone's lives, it seems like. And you think just because they're doing it, all right, or you see it on the internet, or they're uh portraying it a certain way, then it must be like this. Let me tap in. No, it's okay to, have your own opinion on something and then not be popular. Like I'm gonna tell y'all something real quick. Like I played a game. I wouldn't label myself as a gamer, but I love the video game. I love playing my game. That's the time where if I'm not in the gym, if I'm not in class, I'm probably playing a video game. Um, I don't even just use my video game to play the game. I watch TV on there. I look at videos. I do everything on my video game. And I'm PlayStation. So if you rock Xbox, whatever. But nah, I play the game a lot. And there's people who I played the game with, and I've recently met all of these people, but there were years where I knew them. I knew them, right? We talked every day, we played the game, we had a group chat, on FaceTime, all of that. Like we know each other's lives, we just never met in person. Anyway, there's people like that I play the game with to this day that I've known exclusively over the video game for over a decade now. And we have very different outlooks on life. I'll say that. And most of the time, my point of view or the way I see things or the way uh my paradigm and my prerogative is not the same as theirs, right? And they look at the world completely different than I do. And that's okay. But if I didn't have my own mind a long time ago, if I wasn't confident in my own and what I believe in my morals and my values, I would have changed a long time ago. I would have just been like, yeah, I guess I do sound crazy. Y'all right. Like I'm tripping. Like, no. We have to have our own mind. We can't just because the popular opinion is this, that doesn't mean that's just the end all be all or that's just what it needs to be. No. You have to be able to look at your situation, look at where you're at in life, look at what your morals and values are, look at what you believe in, and you make the decision based upon that. We're not looking at, I think a lot of people make decisions and they just do things and they make certain like impetuous actions and decisions based on and impulsive decisions based on just what other people say and what other people are doing. And I think that's a downfall of this world. And it's so easy to do it because so many people have opinions. So many people say this is the right thing. Oh, no, don't do that. Do this. Or, nah, this worked for me. So y'all need to do this. Or blase, blase. It's for that word. The world is full of that. And everybody has an opinion on something. And I can't sit here and be a hypocrite because I'm literally doing a podcast right now. I'm not doing this podcast 20, if I was born 20 years ago. Well, I was. That's money. I was definitely born 20 years ago. But if I was this age 20 years ago, I'm probably not doing this right now. Well, I would be doing it, but maybe at an older age. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's a different world now. Everyone has something to say, and everybody has access to say something. And everyone has an opinion. Everybody feels like they're an expert on something. But just because people feel like they're expert on something, that doesn't mean we should just go with what they're saying. But I think that's my main point. We need to have our own minds. We can't just conform to what the world is doing. That's how we get in trouble. Uh, I think another thing too, we have to make sure we're steering. And this, before I go into this point, because this is a huge point, and this is something that's actually close to my heart right now, because I have family who this that needs to hear this. I have friends who need to hear this, uh, close ones that need to hear this, all of that. So I think this is what I'm about to say. I think this is a huge point for the generation and the world we live in currently. I believe we have to make sure. I know we have to make sure we're steering these kids, these young children in the right direction because there are so many more opportunities and like influences to go a different way. Uh, the world we live in is it's just crazy. There's 5-year olds, 6-year olds. I remember everything I think when I think of stuff, I think of a story attached to it. That helps me think of it a little bit better. Man, I remember I was this was like so I always grew up going to the YMCA. I've had a membership to the YMCA since I was about 3, 4 years old. and I always went there. I always went there to hoop, go to the gym, work out, whatever. I was mainly there to hoop. But as I've gotten older, obviously, I use all the other amenities and stuff like that. That's besides the point. This was like my senior year of high school, so I'm about 17, 18. They would have summer camp in there. They would have little 3, 4, 5, more so like 5, 6, 7 year olds in there, 8-year-old, 9 year olds, whatever. Mind you, I'm like 17, 18. I remember it's like a 5-year-old cursing, but like not just cursing. Like, look, I think, okay, this is a safe space. Look, when I first figured out what curse words are, when I first figured out what curse words were or what they were, I was just putting them together, like putting any word, putting the B word but you know what I'm saying. I was just using all willy nilly, just trying to see how it sounded out loud. Like I didn't know what I was doing. And I wasn't doing it at that age anyway. But I'm saying when I figured out what they were, or, when I was like, okay, I want to hear what this sounds like coming out my mouth. Pause. I was just saying it, whatever. But these kindergartners, these elementary kids, 5 and 6 year olds, were using them like some pros, like comboing up with the profanity like some 30-year olds. Like they've been doing it for a minute. And that's when I was like, brother, we're cooked. We're cooked. This generation's cooked. And it wasn't just like one or two of them where you're like, okay, this kid needs a whooping. It was about 6, 7. See, that's another thing about it. I'm not, when I say six, I can't even say 6, 7 anymore because every time I say 6, 7, it's some TikTok thing where some 6, like, that's another thing that takes me out so bad, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna get on this in my podcast. But anyway, it was some 5 and 6 year olds cursing up a storm like some pros. Like they've been doing this. Like they rep this. Like they rep this in the morning. They rep this at lunchtime. They rep it for dinner. Like they were repping these curse words. And I was so taken aback and flabbergasted because I'm like, bruh, these little kids, I can't use evolving because that's degrading the word evolving. But these kids are wilding. They're having, you call them iPad kids now. These kids are getting iPads at 2, 3 years old. They're on YouTube at 2, 3, 4 years old. They have phones at 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. I didn't get a phone. I didn't get a phone with a phone number until high school when I actually needed it. Like I had to call my mom after practice. That's when I actually got a real phone. Before that, I had a flip phone that I was just playing Tetris and little games on there. It was it was no reception on there. I couldn't call anybody. That was middle school though. Those are the days I lived in. I'm not trying to sound some old head, but those are the days I lived in. Like it wasn't that much access to all that stuff. Now you have 4 or 5 year olds taking their phone to school. Imagine taking your phone to school. I couldn't imagine taking my phone to school. Like that's just crazy. Um, I'm saying all of this to say, because it sounds a little bit facetious, but I'm saying all this to say, like real talk, all jokes aside, these kids are the next generation, obviously. I have a 9-year-old little brother. I pray for him every day because the world he lives in is like, it's tough, right? And if you don't keep a keen eye on these little kids, and if you're not being intentional and going out your way to make sure you're watching them, these kids can turn into something that you didn't even know was possible. And I've seen it before my eyes. I've seen family members where, you know, uh, I have family members who, taking a different route where they do what they do, and you're like, oh, I didn't see this coming. Because if you're not, and some parents, you could do all you feel like you're doing right, and kids still find their own way. But as long as they're under your roof and they're living in your house and you have control over them in that aspect, we you have to keep, and that's not just parents, that's siblings of the children, that's family members, that's um role models or people that they look to, that these children look up to in their lives, uncles, aunties, whatever, teachers, anybody who has a some type of, not power because that's a negative connotation, but have some type of influence rather over kids and children. We have to make sure that we're steering these kids in the right way because they have so much access to everything and they have so many different people. Back in the day, it used to be just my mom. My mom, oh, somebody will tell me, nah, my mom don't want me to do that. You tripping? But get my face. Nah, you tripping. My mom said this, and I go about my day. You feel me? I'm, chest out, feeling brolic, all that. Cause my mom said it. I'm not studying. I'm not studying none you saying because my mom told me if I do this, I'm gonna go to jail. Or if I drink after you, it might be I might get roofie. Like that's stuff I think about. But now you have people like, bruh, nah, look at this video. This person's good. Look, they took it. They have a different remedy. Or look, they got this. Look. It's so many different influences now where it's like, and it might not even be somebody else. It might be the kid, they're doing it themselves. They're going on the internet looking up by themselves doing it, right? They're looking it up and seeing it firsthand. And they're not thinking about what their parents are talking about. Uh it's imperative that we keep a keen eye on these children, man, because those kids and these kids are the next wave of people. And man, I don't know. I don't want to be negative. Man, these kids are something else. It's so much I could say about the children these days. And it's not like the parenting just went downhill. Some of it did, but it's not even that. It's the world that we live in, and it's the access to everything. And parents have to be more intentional, I think, more now than ever. 40, 50 years ago, it wasn't, yeah, if you were gonna sneak out, you're gonna sneak out. But there was a certain amount of trouble you could get into as a kid back then. It was a cap. There was a cap. I feel like now there's no cap. No, I didn't mean like no cap, but there's no ceiling on what the trouble you can get into as a kid now, because you as a my mic's tripping, as a 8, 9 year old, you can get into 19-year-old people, 19-year-old troubles, 19-year-old issues as a young kid. And it's crazy because it shouldn't be like that, but it is. And that's just a crazy thing to me, man. And I said it to say because I'm really passionate about it, and I haven't even said everything I really wanted to say about that topic. But man, we just have to be so intentional with these children. We have to make sure that we're being extremely, I say hard on them, extremely. We have to push them to be the best they can be because they have so many other people telling them what they think is right or what they think they should be doing. And there's so many different voices now than it was before. And if you're again, if you have any influence over these children, make sure that you're at the forefront influencing them, because these other people or these other apps or these other people that they don't know can drown out your voice, and you'll quickly soon realize that you don't have the type of influence that you thought you had over them. So I think we just need to be intentional about it. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes these kids, They're influenced by these kids at school and they don't get it. They don't get what's going on. They don't get that they're following these other kids. They don't get that they're just feeding into whatever these little children are doing and they're just being impressionable. They don't understand because they're young. They have feeble, little minds, undeveloped minds. But as people who are elders in their lives, we have to be able to uh, lead them in the right direction and let them know. Do it with love, though. Let them know what they're doing is not okay, and also let them know whatever they are doing right is good, and they need to do more of it. Like also positive reinforcement, but just finding a good balance of, uh, cheering them up, treating them with love, but also treating them with love, with letting them know when they're not doing what they need to do, and punishing them when they need to, so they know the severity of their actions. So when they get older, they don't feel entitled, they don't feel uh, confused on certain things because you set down a foundation for them. And I know that's what my mom did for me. So I just pray that everybody else can receive that and everybody else can get that in their lives and give it to their children. That's what I'm going to give to my children, God willing, when I have children. I'm going to make sure, God willing, that I give my kids every single gem that I've learned. And it might not always be all it might not be with a sweet tone. A lot of times it might not be. But I want to make sure that they understand again the importance and the significance of this life and how we live it and our actions and what we do and how we go about our lives and how those impact our everyday and how they impact our future. So when we do that with these children growing up, we have to make sure that we're being intentional with that. I say all that to say, the verse that my mom always told me as well. She didn't just tell me these things. She always, brought it back to God. But Proverbs 22:6, it says, "Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it." I think KJ in the King James version is, "and they won't depart." Basically, just saying, do as much as you can when you're molding these kids. Try to mold these kids as well as possible. So when they are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, they won't stray away from it. Sometimes, a lot of times, you can't even help it. They're going to do what they want to do. They're kids. Like, we hear about this all the time. There's preachers' kids, you call them PK kids or whatever, PKs, where it's like they were so sheltered their whole life that as soon as they get a lick of freedom, it's like, oh, okay, I can finally do this. All right, I'm about to just do this because I didn't get the chance to do. I hear about that all the time. People say, oh, sometimes the preacher's kids are the worst kids. Sometimes they are. But again, there's a balance, there's a medium. Uh, my mom wasn't a licensed preacher, but I would label myself as a preacher's kid because that's how my mom was. And then my grandfather was, I look at him as my father. So uh, it was that's how I feel. And I feel like obviously I mess up. I immature little kid, did dumb stuff growing up, but I know everything I do it always goes back to what they taught me, what they told me from a young age. It's been molded and stuck in my head for so long, and they told me these things over and over and over that so I literally can't forget it even if I wanted to. So, um, I just pray that I pray it for your kids. I pray it for my kids. I pray it for your siblings. I pray it for your cousins. Any of these kids that are growing up in this generation, I pray that you guys all get the same. I get the same type of uh, I don't know. I don't know what the word to call it, but teaching that I got from the people, the elders in my life, because they helped me. And yeah, I think we just all need to make sure that we're being intentional with these children. But the verse says, start children off on the way they should go. And even when they are old, they will not turn from it. They won't depart from it. They won't leave the foundation, the groundwork, because it's instilled in them. Even if they want to, they can't go. Even if they go away for a little bit, they're gonna come back. So that's what I would say, and that's the verse that backs up with again Proverbs 22:6. But going off of that, it with so much access, and I've been saying this the whole time, but with so much access to everything, we have to make sure we're filling our spirit with the right stuff. Um, I know I was on kids for a while, but now this is a little bit for the older people. We have to make sure we're filling our spirit with the right stuff. We have so many opportunities to fall into temptation, lust, fear, uh, all of these different things where it's like we have to guard ourselves. We have to protect ourselves from the things of this world because sometimes you cannot look. I'll keep it, but again, this is a safe space. So I'm gonna tell y'all because all these things I'm talking about, I'm working through as well. So look, like this is something that as a man, I literally can't help. And what I'm about to say, just listen. There could be a woman walking past. I'm not even looking at her. She walks past me. She's wearing some, my mom always said, Daisy Dukes, right? Daisy Dukes are like some short shorts. Somebody's bottoms hanging out of it, right? She walks past, he walks in front of me. I'm not even looking at her. She just walks in front of me. And I talked about this on a podcast before, on a few episodes, well, a lot of episodes back. But the world we live in, people wear clothes like that. They'll have their whole bottom out in 60-degree weather with a crop top on. There's people that dress like that. And with that, it's like you have a decision. You gonna look again, or you gonna keep pushing? Go look the other way. Sometimes you gotta look up in the sky. I can't tell you how many times every day I have to look up in the sky, or I just look at my feet, or I just pull out my phone, act like I'm looking at my phone, because I'm trying to. It's too much going on. It's too much. It's too much prancing and it's too much sashaying around for me. All right, I've it's a struggle out here. I'm keeping a buck. It's a struggle out here, especially as a young man in this world. It's a struggle, man. So, it sounds like I'm joking, but I'm so dead serious right now. I I have to. I literally find myself looking at the sky every day, cause somebody over here trying to, you know, portray themselves in a certain way. And I'm not just trying to make it seem like it's women, because there's dudes that do it as well. If roles are reversed, however, I don't know how, I can't think of it in that frame because I'm a man, but it's men do it the same way. But I'm just saying in that aspect, we have to make sure we're guarding ourselves and make sure we're filling our spirit with the right stuff. Because Matthew 15:18 says, but the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, and these defile them. So whatever we pour into our spirit, whatever we pour into, whatever we fill our minds with, fill our spirits with, that's what's going to come out. So when you can't hide it. You can only, and if you think you're hiding, you can only hide it for so long. All darkness come to light. My mom said, man, my mom just said that so many times. Like, all darkness comes to the light. And that's a fact. I see it play out every single day. That's why I don't even worry about certain things. I'm like, look, bro, you feel like you getting away with it now, it's gonna come back to haunt you in some way. So, make sure you're doing your due diligence, your due deal. That's what I tell you. But nah, again, all to the side, we have to make sure that we're guarding our hearts, guarding our spirits, guarding our minds. Make sure that we're pouring. Like this, where I'm at now. That's what. Thank you, guys. 'Cause I forgot what I was gonna talk about. That's what I was talking about. Where I'm at now in my life, I listen. I love music. I'm a I'm a music connoisseur, you could say, I guess. I listen to all different types of music. I don't just listen to one type of music. Obviously, I listen to certain music more than others, certain genres more than others, but I listen to all different types of music. Now, the only thing I don't listen to is like hard rock, that like screaming, all that. I think that's demonic. You can get that out of my ear, brother. But besides that, it's really open game. Uh, cause I just like listen to different beats. I like listen to different cadences. I like listen to different snares, all of that. ad libs. Like I like all of that stuff. I like hearing people tell stories. I like all of that. So, um, I say that to say, as I get older and as I get closer to God, it's like it's hard for me. There have been artists who I've listened to my whole life, who I hear them and I like them and I like their stuff. But it's been some artists where I just can't listen to anymore because stuff they say in their songs or how vulgar it gets sometimes. My mom, she doesn't even like watching movies with curse words. I'm not to that point at all. I'm not even gonna sit here and act like I'm at that point. It's not that point for me. But and that's good for her. I pray I get to that point, but that's not where I'm at sometimes. I'll hear a curse word, I'm like, okay, I'll keep it pushing. My mom, she'll turn it off if they say the F word too many times. It don't matter how good the plot is. My mom will turn that thing off. Uh, but no, like even with music, it's certain people I can't even listen to anymore like that because it's like, man, you done called that girl the B word. You done called her, so many different things, so many times. Like, bro, I can't even. I'm not even trying to, even indulge that. I'm not even trying to indulge in that right now or ever. Like, so it's where I'm at as I get older and as I get closer to God. It's hard for me to even hear and see and listen to certain things. And I think that's just something that we all need to work towards and make sure that we're cognizant about and intentional about making sure we know what we're putting into our bodies. And not just physical, not food, not just food, but that could be music, what we're watching, what we're listening to, who we're around. All of that impacts what comes out again. But the things that come out of a person's mouth comes from the heart. So whatever is being spewed out of us, pause, is what we're putting into ourselves. Pause. uh the things that we're doing every day, things that we're, listening to, looking at, people that we're talking to, all of that is going straight to our heart. And whatever's in our heart is gonna eventually whatever's in our heart is gonna eventually, you know, come to fruition. So that's what I would say with that. I think another important part, again, I always talk about this, I always end it off like this. We have to pray for direction and pray for protection um, in this world. Praying for direction and protection in this world is extremely important because, again, we have so many different influences in our lives. We have so many different factors, uh, so many different opportunities to stray away from the life God wants us to live now. And it's always been things in everyone's lives that are trying to stray them away and get them off the path that God wants them to get on. But I think now more than ever, just because there's so much access to everything. So I think an important part, again, I like ending like this with just praying, but specifically praying for the direction in your life and then the protection, asking God to protect you from these things that you don't even know is impacting your life in a negative way. So I think that's something that we need to all, uh, start airing our lives, especially in the times we live in today, and just making sure that we're being intentional and talking to God about it and just trying to grow every single day and taking it day by day. But that's how I would end it off, y'all. The times we live in are just crazy. There's so much I could talk about, but I don't want to get canceled, so I'll keep it to a minimum. But yeah, y'all, I that's really what I have to say with that. I hope you guys learned something from that. I hope you guys can relate. I hope you guys can actually be able to internalize what I'm saying and, maybe apply it to your life. But yeah, I thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for all the love and support, man. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. I know I enjoy making them. Uh, yeah, but I'm thankful, man. Continue to follow the podcast pages on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow me on Instagram. Follow my podcast page on Instagram. I don't like it, but follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to me on YouTube. And yeah, all my links are on my Instagram bio. So if you get to my Instagram, you'll find all of those. But I thank y'all for tuning in to this point, man. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all having a blessed day. Hope you guys are having a blessed year. But yeah, I appreciate y'all, man. I hope you guys stay blessed, stay prayed up, keep God first. And love, attitude, gratitude. And I'm out. Peace.